The Full Melt Show is intended for a mature audience. It contains adult themes, adult content, and sometimes adult language. Listener discretion is advised.
It's the Full Melt Show.
The constant excuses for inaction no longer do.
A fired up and emotional President Obama moving ahead on gun control without Congress Tuesday, announcing a slate of executive actions beefing up background checks, gun sales in the wake of countless mass shootings.
From college kids in Blacksburg and Santa Barbara, and from high schoolers at Columbine, and from first graders in Newtown. Every time I think about those kids, it gets me mad. And by the way, it happens on the streets of Chicago every day.
The changes requiring all gun vendors to get a license regardless of the size of their operation, plus new funds for mental health care, better tracking of people with mental health issues, and improvements in gun safety technology.
This is not a plot to take away everybody's guns.
Andy Sullivan is following the story.
Well, keep in mind, for any significant change in the laws, Obama has to go through Congress, and he's been unable to change the existing laws we have now. Think back to 2013 when Democrats tried to make background checks more universal. They fell short. This is likely to enrage Republicans in the National Rifle Association. Still, there's about 32,000 Americans who die of gun violence every year, and Obama says that anything he can do to bring that total down even just a little bit is worth doing.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Congress has not approved major gun control legislation since the 1990s, as the powerful NRA has worked to knock down all attempts to rein in gun ownership.
Are you high? What are you talking about?
This is the Full Melt.
The Full Melt Show. A marijuana discussion about news, culture, politics, and lifestyle. FullMelt.com. Toll free. 844-420-TALK. 844-420-TALK.
Well, we've managed to get a new intro song there. Look at that. A little energetic, a little different. Something for the new year. Oh, look at what else we got to deal with the new year. Oh, federal edicts, right? Edict from on high. I can hear it now. There's no way the president could do this without Congress. What are you kidding me? I don't know. Can he? It seems like he did. My question is this, because the president's always said that the key to rescheduling cannabis is in Congress's hands. It's just not in the hands of dear old Mr. President. He can't do that by himself. It's so much a lie. It's not true at all. My point is that if he can make these gun control changes within the bounds of his office without Congress, why can't he do it with cannabis? 844-420-TALK if you want to talk about guns and gun control. It seems to be the big topic, and it's going to be for a little while, apparently. Welcome to the show. Who is this?
My name's Drayton.
Drayton. So,
yeah, how you doing?
I'm good. Where are you calling from, Drayton?
I'm calling from Clearwater, Florida.
Awesome. It's been a long time since I've been to Florida. It's gotten a little chilly down there.
Sorry to hear that.
Has it gotten a little chilly down there?
Sorry to hear that.
Has it gotten a little cold down there?
Yeah, a little bit. We call anything under 70 degrees really cold, so it's been in the upper 60s, so we're freezing down here.
You know, Drayton, I got to say, aside from the gun point, when I lived in Florida, I was down there from the end of the tourist season right through the summer. Right to the beginning of the tourist season and got called back into a job. So I had to stay there through the sticky months.
Summer's brutal.
It is brutal. I mean, this is how brutal it was. I'm a snowbird, right? I'm white as the underside of a fish. It's the only time I ever didn't give pause or question to getting on a public bus in silk boxer shorts and nobody batted an eye. I'm just saying.
But I will tell you, summer, Florida's going to really change over the next year, and it's going to really change because of marijuana. I know we're talking about guns today, but Florida is going to change considerably with medical marijuana at the end of the year this year. And Florida is going to experience about a $6 billion boom.
Well, I don't mind talking, because that's what this show's about, is cannabis and cannabis content for the most part. It just seems that this issue with guns is prevalent among people's minds. So I thought we'd drag it in as a side note, because the federal government, the federal government's stance on guns is if you're a medical cannabis user or a cannabis user at all, you can't have a gun.
Yeah, which kind of, again, it's just it's misinformation, and the thing is I've taken a real interest to marijuana, even though I'm not a user. I've taken a real interest in it because I've seen the effects it's had on people around me, and we've got these pharmaceutical companies that make billions and billions and billions of dollars and addict tens of thousands of our youth. I've seen 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old girls addicted and die on these pain pills, and it's such a waste when you stop and you take a look at. I mean, I know a woman that's chronically ill with cancer. She's going to be dead in 3 months. She's in horrific pain, but her pain has been subsided greatly because of the use of marijuana. Well, and you see this and you go, what are we doing? Why are we letting pharmaceutical and when it all comes down to, whether it's guns, whether it's marijuana, it all comes down to money.
Well, it always has.
Follow the money. Where's the money going?
Look, that's been a theme of this show for a long time. Follow the money, because it will always lead you to the truth.
Yeah.
I've said that as a mantra on the program. It's like one of the main things I keep reminding people of. If you really want to know the truth about a subject, follow the money.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, you seem to be a gun control advocate to some extent.
I mean, I'm for just basic common sense.
Right.
I mean, a lot of the things are. I mean, I sit there and I first of all, the Supreme Court has already ruled that the Second Amendment, for allowing guns and stuff like that, it's not unlimited. We can all agree that it's not unlimited. So if you don't have an unlimited right, then that means, according to the Supreme Court, we can set limits on it. But the minute you talk about any more, you talk about any limits at all, people are like, oh, no, Second Amendment. And it's like, okay, Second Amendment, but did you hear what the Supreme Court said?
Right.
It's not unlimited. You're not allowed to have a machine gun.
Correct, and you're not allowed
why can't we limit clips? Why do you have to have a clip with 34 rounds in it?
Well, you can't have a tank.
That's only to kill people.
You can't have a tank. You can't have a cannon. You can't have
no.
You can't have any of these kind of large military weapons.
And you used to not be able to have assault weapons. And what's this nonsense? Well, we got to have assault weapons in case our government, we got to overtake our government. What are you talking about?
Right.
It's sedition. The government has missiles that turn left and turn right. What are you talking about?
It's sedition. Isn't it seditious speech? I mean, that's sedition when you're talking about there.
It's craziness. It's not the real world. And that's why it's so difficult to have a real discussion about this, because you're not dealing with people that are really in the real world. If you're telling me that you need a gun to protect yourself against the government that is in the United States is by the people, we the people are the government, what are you going to shoot? Your neighbor? You're going to shoot the person that? What are you talking about?
Right.
You can't even have a real conversation about it, because you start getting nonsense. Same thing with marijuana. You can't have a real conversation about it or talk about it, because the person talking against it just sounds retarded at some point. When you sit there and go, wait a minute, we've got hundreds of thousands of people dying from a brown plant every single year. Not only does that brown plant kill 400,000 people or more, it kills people next to them that don't even use the product, called tobacco.
Right.
It's killing everybody. But that's okay.
What about
the green plant? We got to put people in jail for 5, 10, 15, 20 years?
Well,
who does this make sense to?
It all comes back down to the money. Now, let me just throw a side note in here, because all this ties together with a common thread. And do you know what that is? It's corruption. I mean, First off, you've got the decision in Citizens United with the Supreme Court that says unlimited money in politics. You can't limit money because money equals free speech. And the antithesis of that, if that is also true, if you just do, remember back in your geometry days when they were teaching you theorems? If that's true, then so also is true the idea that if I have no money, I have no free speech. So
that's basically it, yeah.
So
what they're saying is the rich have more speech than the person with the dollar has less speech than the person with the $1 billion.
Exactly, and isn't that a violation of the Equal Protection Clause?
Well, of course, yes. The answer to that is yes.
Look, you and I are not.
You and I are start voicing this stuff. You just think that you're insane. You're going crazy because it's like none of this makes any sense. And the powers above, you just sit there and go, "What are you people thinking? What are you guys talking about?" That's like we're now having this discussion about Donald Trump.
Right.
As though this is something viable, as though this is the same party that was telling us just 8 years ago that Sarah Palin was a good idea to have second in line.
I can see Russia
and
from
then 4 years ago they said no, this guy Mitt Romney. Now they're trying to pretend like this. And pretty soon, I just don't understand how people don't just look at the Republican Party and go, "You people are a complete joke." Why don't you just step up? Since government is so bad, since it's so horrible, since it can't do anything, why don't you step aside, get out of the way, and let us run things so we can get shit done?
Well,
because we have real issues. We have real things that need to be done. We're $4 trillion behind just on road, bridges, and highways.
Right.
When are we going to fix that, folks?
Well,
when are we going to start tackling that?
Right,
you want 10 million people to go to work tomorrow? Let's start fixing our roads and bridges. We got 67,000 bridges that are deemed dangerous.
All right, we're getting a little bit
dangerous.
We're getting a little off topic. Just a little off topic. I mean, it all ties together though with this thought of corruption. That's really what it comes down to. Without corruption, none of this would be in existence. You wouldn't have the NRA funneling tons of money to steal elections because really that's what they're doing. The NRA is a tremendous force in political politics. And it caters to a group of people that will donate endlessly because they've got deep pockets. And it's all about propping up an ideal that doesn't make any sense anymore. If you look at the Second Amendment, it's all designed, like you said, and we're going to break, so hang on. I'm going to take you off the air for a second. Stick on through the break with me there, Drayton. If you look at the Second Amendment, it's designed, like you said, to protect yourself against a government gone awry. When that Stinger missile comes out of the sky to blow your house up, I'm going to say that your machine gun, if you're allowed to have one, isn't going to do you any damn good. So what good is the Second Amendment if that's indeed what it was intended for? More coming up.
You're getting the full melt.
When you need legal help, you don't want to guess at who's standing next to you in court. And when it comes to a medical marijuana defense, it's even smarter to partner with a lawyer before you need one. Based in Royal Oak, David Rudoy has a proven history of not being afraid to take your case all the way to the Supreme Court and win. Find the law offices of Rudoy Law
at RudoyLaw.com.
RudoyLaw.com is a quick reference on your rights concerning Michigan medical marijuana
and up-to-date news.
That's RUDOI Law.com. Call 248-935-9074 now and talk about your legal needs, because at RudoyLaw.com, we don't just stand up for you, we stand up with you.
What's up with these things, Victor?
We decided to give ourselves stickers for each feature we release.
We read about 10,000 suggestions a week to create features that, as traders, we'd want to use.
10,000 suggestions? Who reads all of those?
He does.
For all the confidence you need, TD Ameritrade, you got this.
Hey, it's Steve Green for the Sweet Leaf in Flint, because now getting safe access to medical cannabis patients in Flint, Michigan is never more welcoming. Presenting the Sweet Leaf, a brand new patient experience bringing 12 carefully selected caregivers housed in 9 separate offices to distinctly assist you with their knowledge and reputation for excellent patient care. Classes and training coming soon in the large community room. Check it out in person, 400 South Door Highway, or call 810-259-2571. The Sweet Leaf Center in Flint, 810-259-2571.
Got something to hide? Canalock offers discreet and effective storage solutions that destroy odor, so nobody knows. Canalock is a patented charcoal-activated bag that discreetly stores your marijuana. Canalock is made from the same material as military chemical warfare suits. Get yours at Canalock.com. Visit Canalock.com to learn more about no-smell technology.
Introducing Sacred Elements, a place for natural and alternative healing for the mind, body, and soul. Sacred Elements. It's one place, all solutions.
Registered, licensed, certified, ordained.
Sacred Elements.
Massage, hypnosis, Reiki.
Sacred Elements.
Raindrop, aroma and color therapy, body detox, ministry, life coaching, weight and nutrition counseling.
Sacred Elements. Next to the Sweet Leaf, 400 South Dort Highway, Flint.
11 to 7 daily, closed Sunday.
Call 810-259-2570. It's the Full Melt Radio Show.
Radio Show.
All right, the Full Melt Show comes your way Monday through Friday from 7 until 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's our anniversary coming up on the 17th of January, doing the daily full-time show. If you want to chime in, we're talking about guns and gun control and marijuana policy and all kinds of stuff tied to corruption and the government in general. 844-420-TALK is the toll-free number, 844-420-8255. Talking with Drayden tonight on the phone. Drayden, you said you're calling from Florida. What's the spirit in Florida? You guys are an open carry state, aren't you?
Yeah, we are an open carry state. Yes.
Now, I know Ohio's an open carry state. I saw a story out of God.
Yeah, I'm from Ohio. We even let people carry guns in the bars. Like, that's a good idea.
Oh, that's a grand idea. Let's mix booze and this is the same exact idea that the DEA takes your. Okay, I'll give you a quick example. I know a guy named Hoss. He used to be He used to work in the Detroit area as a bounty hunter. And when Hoss became a medical marijuana patient, guess what it wasn't the DEA, it was the ATF. You know what they did? The moment they found out he was a medical marijuana patient, they sent him a notice saying that you've got to turn in all your guns. And he's like, look, I'm a bounty hunter. That's what my guns are for, you idiots. I'm willing to hunt down the guys the cops are not willing to take down. I've been shot 8 times, and you want me to turn in my guns? What am I supposed to do? And they said pepper spray and beanbags. He says, I'm not dog. Dog didn't take 8 shots to the gut.
That's like people that admit that they drink. I guess we should take away their cars.
Well, it's funny you say that. It's funny you say that because I just saw a story that was posted moments ago. Drugged driver banned after taking cannabis. Michael Janis, 23, appeared at Portsmouth Magistrates Court. This must be in Portsmouth. Where's Portsmouth at? I don't know. He pleaded guilty to driving a vehicle whilst unfit through drugs on October 20th. Oh, this is not even in this country. That's why I don't know.
Well, first of all, anybody that has experience with somebody drunk is going to drive 80 miles an hour and kill many. Somebody that's really high is going to drive about 7 miles an hour and just kind of nudge you off the road a little.
Or hit the picket fence.
But when was the last time you ever hung out with somebody that was high and he said, you know what? Let's get in the car and go drive around.
You don't find many guys. They're like, oh God, I'm too stoned. I don't even want to ride with you guys. We got an undrugged driver. Well, yeah, I don't trust him.
I mean, we all know that when people get high, they just can't wait to get in the car and drive around. I mean, give me a break. That's such a stupid argument. I don't know. Every friend I've ever been around has gotten high. They haven't wanted to move.
Right.
Let alone drive a car.
It's hard.
And if they did drive a car, they didn't make it over 7 miles an hour.
It wasn't. Couch lock is hard to get out of if you're trying to drive the car. But there are legitimate cases to be made, I think, with drugged driving. I mean, impaired driving of any type is a problem, in my opinion. The other shoe to that argument is what is impaired, and the police and prosecutors don't want to have to prove that beyond a reasonable doubt because that's their job. So they want a per se limit. They want to call this the line, and if anybody that measures over this line by a simple test is impaired, and you can't really do that. You might be able to draw that conclusion with alcohol because alcohol, from my scientific knowledge, number one, it's a single-chain molecule. It responds and reacts to everybody in the same way. So by body weight and body mass, you can determine how much you would have to disable you or to impair you, so to speak. So I guess I don't have a problem with per se limits with alcohol, although I'd much rather have police and prosecutors prove your impairment, put you through a litany of physical tests that demonstrate whether or not you've got control of your faculties. That's proving impairment or non-impairment. But they don't want to do that. And with cannabis, it's even worse because it's a 3-chain molecule, and it reacts differently in everybody, and your tolerance to cannabis completely tells the tale as to whether or not you're going to be impaired. If I'm a daily cannabis smoker because I use it for medical reasons, but if I did not use cannabis daily, and I just, out of the blue this month, took a couple puffs off of some joint somewhere, it would just completely blow my mind. And the last thing I would want to do or be able to do is drive a car, operate heavy equipment. Because, look, I'm uncomfortably stoned at this point. I mean, I don't even want to think about doing anything else but maybe eating something.
Exactly my point. But Steve, let me get to I really called the show because I wanted to ask you a question because you and I had a conversation on Facebook, but I wanted to ask you and your audience a particular question because it goes back to guns, and it's the thing that it has me completely puzzled. Yes. Is that in this day and age, 2016, the CES show is going on, and we now have refrigerators that have smart chips in them. We have smart TVs. We have smart everything. Why is there such a push against? Why can we have technology in everything, but the minute you put technology in the gun, the NRA goes nuts?
Oh, it's RoboCop.
I don't understand why we don't want to make our weapons smart.
Listen, Drayden, you get your RoboCop gun away from me. I don't trust that damn gun. It's got electronics and a battery in there. It might shoot me without you knowing. I mean, that's the argument, isn't it?
We trust all of the other technology in our lives. We're now within a few years, within a year or two, of trusting cars going 65 miles an hour on the highway, and we don't touch them. We're now universally, all 50 states are going to allow within 24 to 48 months, cars driving at 65 miles an hour with no one touching them. But we can't trust the gun to identify you as the owner and only fire with you as the owner?
Who
believes that?
Look, it's a great question. And I would say that the money that Obama went on TV today and said he's going to devote towards things in industry that will lean to answer that question, we'll be talking to the makers, the manufacturers of the chips and the hardware that go into phones right now, asking them how they can get this to be incorporated into hardware of weapons. Because it's a great question. Now, then the other question is this. The guy that's got that gun, and obviously that is an electronic process, right? That's something that needs power in order for it to determine your thumbprint. You've got to plug. Can you imagine people plugging their phones or their guns into the wall like a phone? Got to make sure my gun's charged. Hang on a second. I'm only got 2% battery left on my gun. Hang on. I mean, that's the argument you're going to have there, is that hey, the murderer came to murder me, and I couldn't shoot my gun because it wouldn't identify me because the battery was dead. What about that?
I think with technology now, they have if they have a battery that can batteries that can run lights, LED lights that can last 50,000 hours. Don't you think we can have a gun that can last a few thousand hours and shoot when it needs to? We got lights that can do it for 50,000 hours. Can't we get a gun to last for the year? Or can't we have a gun that in its container is already plugged in, and when you move the gun, it's already charged automatically? I mean, we got technology now. We got cars going at 65 miles an hour that can get from California to New York without you touching it. So
I don't know.
I'm sure we can put the proper technology in the gun, but I mean, nobody even wants to talk about technology in the gun. The minute you even say the word technology in gun, the NRA says no. And that's the one thing that leads me against the NRA is All I know is when you're against advancement, when you're against technology, you're on the wrong side.
No, there's
every time.
There's no question, unless you get to the Hal question. You know what I mean? I can't do that for you. I mean, AI, all that kind of stuff. We're not too far off from that. We're only maybe 20 years away from artificial intelligence having the ability to basically become self-aware, as we've kind of described it, in science fiction. It's
right. Right. I mean, that's part of what's going on at the CES show. They're showing you just how big the advancement's going on in that. That's not 20 years away. That's really 7 to 10 years away.
Well, I mean,
we won't be sending text messages and emails. We'll just be talking to our computer, smarter computers, and just telling them, hey, send a message to such and such, and tell them this, tell them that, and that's it. And then your computer will basically take care of it. Email and text messaging won't exist.
Well, let's say you've got a gun holster. Like, you've seen those little battery packs that you can plug your phone into in case your phone runs out of battery juice. You just plug it into this little battery thing. It's got basically a USB on there. You plug it in there, and it just sucks the juice from that battery instead. All of a sudden, it recharges the battery quickly. So what's to say that you don't have one of those backup batteries in your holster, so that it's all right when it's holstered, like you said, it's charging the gun. The gun's always got juice, even if it runs out of battery, it's got this backup to suck off of. And then you always and
like you said, they always have an excuse of what if there's a malfunction. Well, let me explain to you what the malfunction really is.
What if it? Wait, hey, Jim, whoa, wait,
a policeman fires.
Hang on, I'm going to take you down, so you can't even hear me because you're talking.
Cops.
Oh, see, he's just going on.
6% of the time.
All right, listen.
Do you really want people sitting next to you with guns that are going to start fighting in a situation and want them missing 2 or 3 times out of 4? Where do those bullets go? What happens when they start hitting loved ones next to you and they go, "Oh, I'm sorry, I was trying to hit the bad guy"? How many people die in that scenario? People always talk about the perfect scenario. Well, the bad guy came in and I pulled my gun and I fired 3 shots and all 3 hit him and he died. That's not how it works. We got enough evidence to know that's not how it works. We've seen enough cops shoot. We've seen enough TV shows where cops are shooting at somebody and the guy's still running. You're going, didn't he fire 6 shots? Yeah, guess what? All 6 missed him. and these guys are professionally trained, So, Steve, I don't know you, but let me ask you a question. You maybe know 1,000. Let's say you know 1,000 people. Why don't you tell me right now how many people that you know out of that 1,000 that you want to have guns in their pocket and you want them firing in them next to you? 4?
Right.
3? Because I know 1,000 people and I can only think of 3 that I want to have a gun in their pocket. The other 997 can't get an order to Pizza Hut right.
Well, I'm not going to argue with you there. Here's the thing. If you've got a gun and it's recognizing your fingerprint and you're firing. Now, like you said, sometimes when I've got 2 phones. I've got an Android phone and I've got an iPhone, both of them the newest models. And if you place your thumb on either one of those phones, even though it's taken multiple samples of my fingerprints on multiple fingers, there's many times where I'll touch that icon to unlock the phone and it won't unlock. And I'll have to do it again, and it says you got 7 tries left, and it'll keep going down. I'll hit it 4 or 5 times, and it'll keep going down. So then I got to take the phone out of my hand and put the button just on there right, and then it opens up. What about that? I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm on your side, but this is the kind of thing that people would throw in as questions. And I think some of them are legitimate, but I think most of the responses you get from gun advocates would not be the ones that I'm giving you, the legitimate questions about this kind of technology and how would you answer them. They want to argue back to the civil rights issue, or back to this constitutional right. You can't keep us from having a gun. Well, you just reminded us that the Supreme Court said that's not unlimited. So where is the limit?
Not unlimited. And
where is the least reasonable limit? I think the reasonable limit is exactly where Obama kind of drew the line today, to some degree. And I think, part of the problem we've got with mass shootings out here, with crazy, whacked out people getting a hold of guns and just going postal, so to speak, started with the Reagan administration doing away with mental health facilities, throwing them in jails and treating them as prisoners, or making them homeless, just tossing them out on the street. This is part of our problem. We do not have a functional mental health care system in our country because it's really falling behind health care. We don't even have an adequate health care system in our country because it's not.
Could not agree with you more on that. That's 100% correct. I mean, think about millions and millions and millions of people are on antidepressants. I mean, the number is staggering. Well, and you're absolutely right. We don't treat mental health in this country the way they treat it in other countries. And you're right. Our health, we're the only country in the developed country in the world that treats health care like we do. And once again, it all comes down to what? It all comes down to money.
It's all about that dollar. See, look, if it wasn't about the dollar, when we redid Obamacare, when Obamacare got passed, and it just barely passed, the only way that they could get over that hump is to let the health insurance companies throw them a prize. Say, look, all right, we'll cave in and we won't make you negotiate price for bulk purchasing, like they do with every other client of theirs. The biggest client now, the U.S. government, is not allowed to negotiate price for bulk purchasing. The hell is that?
That's correct. It gets worse than that. Not only is it that bad, that the largest buyer of medicine, which is Medicare in the world, it doesn't pay the best price. If you go to Panama, if you go to other countries, drug companies charge other countries according to how much the average amount of money the people in that country make.
That's exactly it.
So we pay 3 times what they do in Panama and other countries in Central America. We pay 3-4 times for the exact same medication.
Exactly
just
the same.
Because the drug companies go, we've got money, so we can charge them more.
Look, they become the street pushers. They're the ones that are hooking these people on drugs intentionally, having doctors prescribe these things off-label. How many times has a doctor prescribed somebody pain medication for in excess of 2 weeks? Happens all the time on an initial prescription. Oh, you broke your femur. It's going to hurt for a while. Here's a 30-day supply of Vicodin. Look, you've just given that person.
Yeah, and now the FDA just approved hydrocodone for 14-year-olds.
Yeah, see, now they want to hook them younger because they make a lot of money off Vicodin. Vicodin, according to ABC News and a Diane Sawyer report shortly before she left the evening news, was the most prescribed drug in the country by tenfold. I mean, it was way, way overprescribed. Hang on, hey, we got to go to break. Stand by, Dre.
You're getting the full melt.
What's up with these things, Victor?
We decided to give ourselves stickers for each feature we release.
We read about 10,000 suggestions a week to create features that, as traders, we'd want to use.
10,000 suggestions? Who reads all of those?
He does.
For all the confidence you need, TD Ameritrade, you got this.
At book club, they were asking me what you're doing now, Janice.
Blogging. Your blog is just pictures of you in a mirror.
It's called a fashion blog, Todd. Well, I've been helping people save money with Progressive's discounts. Flo, can you get Janice a job?
You should have stuck to softball. I was so much better at softball than Janice dead.
Where's your wife, Todd?
Vacation.
Discounts like homeowners, multi-policy. I got a discount on this ham.
I've got the meat sweats. It's good ham, Diane.
Paperless discounts. Give it a rest, Flo.
Yeah, Flo, give it a rest.
We ask people to tell us something that happened in their past and something that might happen in their future. The good things were put on yellow magnets and the bad ones on blue. The results show the past was a pretty even mix of good and bad, yet the future was almost all good things. Now that you've seen the results of this experiment, what does it mean to you?
We all want to think about positive stuff.
Realistically, there will be downtimes.
It's great to think optimistically, but let's plan for whatever the future might bring.
Prudential, bring your challenges.
If you're like us, your pets aren't just animals. They're members of your family. Pet Pain CBD hemp oil drops are great for aging as well as active dogs and cats. Some people are apprehensive about hemp treatments for pets. They ask us, what are you smoking? Absolutely nothing, and neither will your pet. Like other hemp-based products for humans, the allure is all of the benefits of cannabis without any of the high. The CBD oil has shown to rejuvenate the bones, joints, brain, stomach, eyes, and heart. And the drops contain absolutely no corn, wheat, soy, artificial colors and flavors, or preservatives. Pick some up today. Visit petpain.com. or ask for Pet Pain at your local pet store. PetPain.com. CBD relief for your pet.
It's the Full Melt Radio Show.
I just realized how far we've advanced into the show. Good Lord, we've already gone in, some 40 minutes into the show. We're talking about guns today because Obama cried on TV. Oh, I can hear it now. If I got to see another picture of Obama crying, I'm going to puke. And it's not because Obama cried. It's because they're going to play the hell out of it. It's like an overplayed pop song, isn't it? Obama crying? Yes, no?
Yeah, God forbid we have a president that shows emotion, that is affected by, looking at people. I mean, the Gabby Gifford thing, I almost choked up when he started talking about, Gabby, and I mean, he was there, and suffered along with these people. And if you can't feel emotion on that, and that's why so many people are just, detaching themselves from the Republican Party in droves. Whoa. I mean, if you have to make fun of a president simply because he shows emotion, he should have showed emotion. That was a time to show it. And I believe it or not, I used to be in the 80s. I was a registered Republican, and let me tell you, the party left me a long time ago.
Well, in my opinion, Reagan destroyed the Republican Party. Rush Limbaugh would tear me up for saying that because everybody holds Reagan on high. I never liked Reagan. The trickle-down theory was not something that was ever meant to be released in a free capitalist society. It was not.
No, it drove us right to where we went off the cliff. I mean, when you stop and think about it, the thing that creates a good economy is people need things. But if you can't afford, it's called consumption.
Right.
But if you can't afford to consume, then there is no consumption.
Right.
And that's what, Walmart and stuff has found out, is that when you stop giving people enough money to buy even low-price things,
right,
your business goes down. It's pretty bad when you have minimum wage, which was supposed to always be a livable wage. Read it. Read what the president said when he put in the act. It was supposed to be a livable wage. It wasn't supposed to be for the companies sold the BS that it's supposed to be for teenagers to have their first job and make some money, put pocket money. No, that's not what minimum wage was. Right. Minimum wage was a livable wage, so that you could have a car, that you could have a house, that you could have a life. That's what minimum wage was about.
Minimum wage.
And Ronald Reagan wasn't one of our best presidents. He was one of our worst presidents.
Absolutely.
And he was a flat-out criminal. That's not an opinion. That's a fact. He sold arms to Iran and gave money to the Contras when the Congress specifically voted and told him not to.
Well, and where did that money? Wait. Where did that money come from? Where did that money come from?
From arms sales to Iran.
It wasn't just arms sales. Where else did that money come from?
Oh,
the Sandinista rebels, all that. Ollie North.
Yeah.
Cocaine.
Yeah.
It came from cocaine sales on the streets of America after North brought duffel bags full back from Colombia and other countries. They used this as dark money. This is one of the reasons why there's such a huge backlash from government and authority over modifying drug law, because it's the one place they can go to for cash when they can't get it from the purse of Congress. Honestly. There's a story out today. I've got to cover this anyway, so I might as well tell you about it now. So just bear with me for a second while I pull it up. I saw this story today. I was like, really? Seriously? This was a story that let's see here. Oh, wait a minute. Wrong place. This was a story about a guy from California, Northern California. And mind you, this is a guy that is a law enforcement officer who's been involved in at least 60 marijuana prosecutions, was caught with $2 million worth of cannabis in New York State. So somewhere he got access to bust Or maybe he got access to somebody that he was busting, and instead of busting them, said, look, instead of me taking you to jail, why don't you give me all this weed, and I'll take it to New York and make a bunch of money. So he was just caught red-handed in the cookie jar, taking drugs. Look, when they busted him with the weed, they found his service revolver and his badge. I mean, it's just maddening. Don't tell me the police aren't using this to their benefit. And the federal government just ended this process, by the way, but at least they've halted it. They suspended it because there's a $1.2 billion deficit in their coffers over this policy. The drug seizure money, forfeiture seizure money, the federal government, if you do it through the federal government, they let the police keep 80% of anything that they seize. Now, what is wrong with this idea? Well, first off, police shouldn't be worried about the money attached to what they're doing. They should be worried about the crime attached to what they're doing. They shouldn't be incentivized to police certain crimes and to leave other dangerous crimes alone. The drug rate, prosecution rate across the country, 90 percentile. 90% of drug complaints get solved with a prosecution. Or at least when they go to, well, it's still an adjudication, when they go in and they force them to plead out. So they're still guilty of some lesser offense. They do like the used car salesman does. Hey, I'll give you $500 if you push, pull, or drag that car in. And on the back end, they're tacking $500 onto the car they're going to sell you. It's just a trick. So, I mean, when you've got this going on, and they're taking this cash, yet you've got the murders and rapes, the violent crimes, the home invasions, the carjackings, when you've got people pointing guns at people and making them do things, or killing them, or injuring them. These crimes are solved in the 20 percentile rate. 20% of them. Now, you want to argue which one's the more violent crime. That guy's dead. There's nobody dead over there. What happened over there? You broken down the door and you killed the dog in front of the kids and you took some drugs. You didn't even charge them and you stole all their crap. This is what we've got police doing now.
What I think is going to happen over the next few years before legalization across the country really, sets ablaze. What I think is going to happen is these municipalities and these counties and stuff like that, these police departments. I don't know how you feel, but I feel, especially in the last 10, 15 years, the police has become more about just generating capital, tickets and stuff like that, then they really, I don't really see them as solving crime anymore. I just see them as a revenue generation for the city. That's what they seem to be like anymore.
Look,
they're just worried about writing the expensive tickets. Hey, you don't have your seatbelt on, $75. Hey, you went speeding over here, yeah, $150. Right. Hey, you don't have a handicap sticker that's up to date, another $150.
They're glorified tax collectors, right?
Yeah. So I think it's just going to, I think it's going to come to the point where they start to realize, hey, wait a minute, we could make a lot more money if we just wrote big fat tickets for people that possess marijuana instead of dragging them through the legal system and doing all this hocus pocus in the legal system and taking years to do all this stuff. Let's just write $300,000, $500,000 tickets and let's really build our coffers.
Look, okay. Wait.
I'm thinking that's the way it's going to go.
No, it's all right.
I just. All of our courts are so jam-packed.
I disagree. I disagree.
And I just don't see another way.
I disagree. I'll give you an example. This is a story from yesterday. In Idaho, a lady from, it was either Oregon or Washington. She used to live in Idaho, and she went to either Oregon or Washington as a medical marijuana patient, became a medical marijuana mother there. She's a mother with kids, and she's a legitimate patient. And then when she came back to Idaho on her own volition to say, look, we need to bring this back to my home state. She stood right there in front of the Capitol and said, gave this speech about how basically the same kind of stuff we're talking about now, and had an audience there because, she kind of promoted it. Well, somebody tattled her on her to the police because she was going to stand there on New Year's Day in defiance, in civil disobedience, and light a joint on the Capitol steps. Well, since the police were tipped off, they all were standing around waiting for her to whip out the joint, which she never actually did. They just, at the end of her speech, walked up to her and said, okay, it's time to go then. I mean, they hauled her off and arrested her. And my point about this is that the fine that she could pay there is $1,000 for possession of marijuana. She could also spend a year in jail. At the same time, get fined $1,000 and have a year in jail for simple possession. What?
Right. I should have clarified what I was saying because, once again, she did it in Idaho. She did it in a red state. what I'm saying is, in the blue states and in the blue areas, it's like Florida. Broward County.
Should it matter?
I think Broward. I think if you do a Google thing on Broward just agreed to they're not going to arrest people with 20 grams or less anymore. They're just going to give them a $150 citation.
Right. Well,
that's kind of where I was going with the whole thing. Broward is right above, is the Miami and Fort Lauderdale area and all that stuff.
Right. It's just the north,
and
just
Broward
north of
County
Dayton.
has decided, we're not going to just keep hauling people in for having a few joints in their pocket and stuff like that. We're going to write them a ticket for $150. So can you imagine the millions of people that live in that area? How many tickets they're going to write for $150, and think about how much time and effort and BS that's going to save. All these officers.
Look, they're not even.
They're patting down these people, and they find a joint, and they find this, and they find that, and they're just going to say, here's the $150 ticket, $150 ticket.
Wait. Here's how Broward did this. I'm just taking you off the air because you can't hear me because you keep talking. Listen, hey, can you hear me? Hey. Listen, when you talk, sometimes you can't hear me. I'm trying to chime in, and you're like, you just keep going on. It's because you can't hear me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's only because you can't hear me. What I was trying to say
I can't hear you.
Is that, well, maybe I can make that better. Maybe I can turn it up a little bit. Hang on. Is this a little better if I do that? Or if I do that?
That's much better.
Okay, there. Now at least you can hear me. We had somebody that came in and ran the board, and they didn't know what they were doing, and they happened to be button happy, and they turned all the knobs and pushed all the buttons and changed all the levels, and so we have this. So what I started to say is, the reason that Broward County did this, because it made sense to them economically. See, they're not just running around patting down people for weed like they do in New York City because everybody's on foot. What they're doing there is they're pulling people over and adding it on to the top of whatever they pulled them over for. So they pulled you over. You're impeding traffic. That's a $180 ticket. So and you didn't use your turn signal when I pulled you over. So there's a no signaling. Changing lanes without a signal. There's another ticket. And it looks like your insurance is expired. So we got to give you a ticket there. Oh, and look, is that a bag of weed there? Oh, it's under 20 grams. So I'm just going to write you another $150 ticket. This is just piling on stuff on top because before they'd had to arrest that person. Hang on, because we're going to break. So they're going to have to arrest that person, tow their car, do all this crap. It's a bunch of extra paperwork. It takes a lot more time. Plus, then they got a jail bill to pay now. That's another reason why they did this. They didn't want to tie up the jails with so many people over pot. We're talking about drugs, drug policy, and also the federal government and corruption here on The Full Melt Show. Hang on. We'll be right back.
You're getting the full melt.
Promotional consideration provided by NoSmell.com, pioneering the storage market for cannabis users. The NoSmell patented bag technology offers users 100% smell-proof detection from even the most sophisticated of noses. NoSmell.com, so nobody knows. When placing your order for a NoSmell bag, make sure to use discount code FULLMELT and take 10% off the entire order. Learn more about NoSmell technology at NoSmell.com.
Young students are our future. They're eager to learn, eager to succeed, eager to make the world a better place. And they want to make it to school safely. Share the road, take care when passing, and always leave 3 feet between you and people on bikes. Bikes are legal road vehicles. We're all drivers.
When you need legal help, you don't want to guess at who's standing next to you in court. And when it comes to a medical marijuana defense, it's even smarter to partner with a lawyer before you need one. Based in Royal Oak, David Rudoy has a proven history of not being afraid to take your case all the way to the Supreme Court and win. Find the law offices of Rudoy Law
at RudoyLaw.com.
RudoyLaw.com is a quick reference on your rights concerning Michigan medical marijuana
and up-to-date news.
That's RUDOI Law.com. Call 248-935-9074 now and talk about your legal needs, because at RudoyLaw.com, we don't just stand up for you, we stand up with you.
If you're like us, your pets aren't just animals. They're members of your family. Pet Pain CBD hemp oil drops are great for aging as well as active dogs and cats. Some people are apprehensive about hemp treatments for pets. They ask us, what are you smoking? Absolutely nothing, and neither will your pet. Like other hemp-based products for humans, the allure is all of the benefits of cannabis without any of the high. The CBD oil has shown to rejuvenate the bones, joints, brain, stomach, eyes, and heart. And the drops contain absolutely no corn, wheat, soy, artificial colors and flavors, or preservatives. Pick some up today. Visit PetPain.com or ask for Pet Pain at your local pet store. PetPain.com. CBD relief for your pet.
Hey, it's Steve Green for the Sweet Leaf in Flint, because now getting safe access to medical cannabis patients in Flint, Michigan is never more welcoming. Presenting the Sweet Leaf, a brand new patient experience bringing 12 carefully selected caregivers housed in 9 separate offices to distinctly assist you with their knowledge and reputation for excellent patient care. Classes and training coming soon in the large community room. Check it out in person, 400 South Door Highway, or call 810-259-2571. The Sweet Leaf Center in Flint, 810-259-2571. It's the Full Melt Radio Show.
Oh, just minutes left in the program tonight. It's just been flying by. Flying by, I tell you. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 o'clock. We've had Drayden on the phone from South Florida. You said you're in the Clearwater area there, Drayden? Is it Clearwater? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
There you are. So did you say that you're in the Clearwater area, Clearwater, Florida area?
I hear the background girl. I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry.
What did you say?
That's okay. Here, I can fix that too. Is that better? Does that go away now?
Yeah, it went away.
Okay. There's some feeds that I won't even get into the text on it. It's just too technical. So I had to turn them back up because you're going to need to hear the music when it comes back, so you know we're heading out the break or something. Listen, the whole business about this corruption theme is really kind of, I think, underpinning a lot of subjects, not only around this show, but also around things that are happening all around us all the time. We just described situations where police are no longer protecting and serving, rather badgering and abusing and taxing. They were never meant to be tax collection people, and that's exactly what they've been turned into. A quick example here. This I remember covering this when I was a news person in Ohio, in Cleveland. There's a place. Is it Linden? I think it's oh gosh, what's the name of that little? There's a little stretch. They have like less than 100 yards along the expressway there, in this little community. That's like a suburban Cleveland community. And it's on a major stretch. There's
actually I'm from Ohio, and I can tell you there's actually a few of those traps in Ohio.
Right, and so these police departments, rather than go and police their own communities where everything seems to be fine, will sit along this little stretch of roadway that's basically the size of a football field, and use it as a place to go netting, basically running around collect. It's like you ever gone smelting, where you dip the net and you catch a bunch of little fish. I mean, this is what they're doing on the freeway, and their city's departments. The entire ability of them to stay afloat depends on their ability to collect money from these places, and they were never meant to be there. They're not state policemen, they're not troopers, they're not sheriff's department members. These are local community police. They had no business on the expressways worrying about who's driving through their little community in a blink of an eye, and trying to tax them as they go. They do this there's a stretch along 275 here in Michigan, suburban Detroit, that's much used the same way. There's 7 different police agencies feeding off that traffic out there. And one of them is Livonia. And Livonia is another one of these cities. Now, mind you, they have major stretches that surround them on the highway. But the highway is not really their jurisdiction. Livonia is their jurisdiction. Those are federal highways. They had no business up there. They just really don't. This is all about collecting money, and the more money they got, the more clout they have with the neighboring departments and neighboring communities. And this is, the government Joneses keeping up with the Joneses. It's gotten terrible. And the corruption now being cemented by the Citizens United case just allows more people with more money controlling these issues, not for public safety, not for community policing, not for the happiness and well-being of Americans, but rather to line their pockets. And it's got to stop. Because if it doesn't, you're going to have more situations like those guys with guns off in, Oregon, where they busted in there into a federal building and an unoccupied building and just occupied it. So we're not going anywhere with our guns. I mean, they're asking for another Ruby Ridge or another Waco, Texas. This is what they're begging for to have happen. And this is we should not be fighting amongst ourselves as Americans over this stuff in the first place. We should be paying attention to the foreign enemies trying to make their way in to really injure Americans. That's what we should be paying attention to and focusing on, frankly. It's not to say that there's not.
I couldn't agree more. But do you notice that now the things are seem more divided than ever? But and I blame a large part of this on Fox News, and because it pretends like it's a news station, and it's not a news station at all. It's just constant propaganda. And when you walk around, you can't tell me you haven't experienced this. When you're walking around and you find somebody that's a Republican and they go to express their viewpoint, and they're not expressing a viewpoint of theirs, they're expressing a viewpoint, the exact same viewpoint, word for word, that they heard on Fox News.
Right, and they're really good at using those talking points. I mean, they just pull out the talking points. And they're also really good at changing the conversation, trying to change the argument from one argument into another argument. There's no solving this problem because I think, my personal opinion is that it's all a big stage play. The Republican thing, the Democrat thing, this is all a stage play designed by people with cash in order to keep us entertained and fighting with ourselves so that they can go on manipulating us out of our money. That's clearly what's going on.
Oh, well, yeah, that's what Rush Limbaugh has been doing for years. That's what Sean Hannity. Have you ever spoken to Sean Hannity? He's a complete knucklehead. He can't put two sentences together.
Well,
everybody knows he's half retarded. But guess what? He'll spout anything he has to spout so that he can make the money. Sean Hannity's laughing all the way to the bank.
Right.
Rush Limbaugh's laughing all the way to the bank.
Sure he is.
They don't believe the nonsense they spout.
Well,
but they're going to spout it because they make millions of dollars doing it.
Well, none of those guys are running for president, are they? But they pretend like they're the king of the party. Here's the other thing. This other also kind of underscores your point. The whole reason you're on this show talking about these subjects tonight is because we had a Facebook conversation with some other people earlier tonight. And all of those people seem to be inclined to be on the other side of the argument, the gun control bad, okay? And you notice that you're the only one that decided to call amongst those people. I know most of them had time and availability to chime in, just like they were doing on Facebook, but it's awfully easy to hide behind your keyboard because you can look stuff up on Google and mix that stuff into your responses and answers. You can't do that on a phone call, arguing this out with your own voice and people that can stand behind the merit of their position. None of those people call.
No, and I put myself out there on a lot of things. If I voice my opinion on ESPN, if I do it on this show, if I do it on other radio shows that I've been on, I do it as Drayton, from Clearwater, Florida.
Right.
I don't pretend I'm not who I am. I don't hide behind a keyboard and say, I'm Frosty the Bear or something like that.
Well, you'll notice.
And I think you can have real conversations that way because, if people know who you are, you're less likely just to spout nonsense. I believe in what I say. I'm not trying to incite anybody or anything else like that. I actually have an opinion, and I believe my opinion.
There's a lot of people in the marijuana community that are Facebook friends of mine that don't have real names. They don't use their real names. They refuse to do it. I've never used a fake name. And anytime I get friended by somebody with a clearly fake name, I always question anything they've got to say because I don't know who you are. I don't know who you are, and if you're not willing to reveal that, what point is your point? Really?
Yeah, and I'm going to be a new listener because I'm new to the whole. I'm a newbie in this whole marijuana thing, but like I said, I'm not a user, but I very much plan on being a part of the community, and I plan on being part of the business. I'm looking forward to it coming to Florida. I think it's going to be a $6 billion boon to Florida. And I'm probably going to get into the edible business.
Well, I
haven't solidified that yet, but I think that's what I'm going to do.
You've got to get around Matty Maroon first. Matty Maroon is down there pouring as much money as he's got in his greedy little pockets into the anti-pot thing because he doesn't want people walking into his casinos smoking pot before they go in there or even while they're in there because they buy less booze that way. They don't make bad decisions on gambling because you're all drunk.
I think that's really short-sighted, because, like I said, legalizing marijuana in Florida would bring, at beginning estimates, anywhere from $6 to $9 billion to the state.
And about
there'd be more than enough money for everyone to share. You got to remember, 6 million people a year visit Florida, and people from all around the world. And I think if we had legalized marijuana here in Florida, that number would double. So the economic benefit to Florida would be humongous.
Drayden, the music's going to start again, and you're not going to be able to hear me very well, and we're about to go off the air. But I wanted to thank you for calling up and being a part of the program tonight. I really did. You contributed.
All right, thanks, buddy. Good talking with you.
Thank you. You've contributed significantly to the program, and you're welcome back anytime. Get the app. Get the mobile app for Android. Listen to us there.
Your call has ended.
There we go. It should have ended because we're all out of time. We'll see you tomorrow for another full edition of The Full Melt Show. I'm Steve Green. Until then, goodbye.
The Full Melt Show is a production of TFM Media.